Okay, hey guys. So as many of you know, I released an 8-part series that talks about the connection between climate change, consciousness, and our human potential. And in the last video, I explained how I would be a real-time example of the functionality of consciousness. And you would see this in my journey because by releasing that content, I'd stepped into the highest form of consciousness I know. Full spectrum consciousness. If you're wondering how did I even get into this position to understand energy and to show the functionality of it, it is all in the series that I created, Decoding Humanity. Honestly, it breaks down everything, and a huge part of being able to see our potential is also having the belief to believe it's real and it's achievable. So yes, there's a lot of information, and yes, it's quite heavy with information, but there was a reason. Like, for you to be able to see what I'm saying, I also had to build the belief system within you. So if anyone knows anything about beliefs, to see something is possible, you have to believe it's real. And the depth of all the videos is to make sure that I can create that belief whilst giving you the proof. Okay, also, one thing I just want to clarify is that none of the videos have been organised or arranged to ever make money, because that's not the purpose at all. I do not work within the construct of money, so I don't advertise or do anything. Everything I do now is just purely for information. So I'm not saying go and watch all the videos because, you know, it benefits my situation in any way. It's just so... it's just to, like I said, it's just to help. It's just to, you know, create and give consciousness visibility. And yeah, that's what it's for. So it's not to make money or anything like that. No. Okay, so let's get into the real reason for this video. Since stepping into full spectrum consciousness, I had my first lesson. So just to get you up to date, so since releasing the content, we're kind of waiting to see how my energy equates physically and the compensation that comes from that. So there's a whole thing that happens that was really insightful. So what I'm going to do is, instead of talking to you about it, I'm going to add it onto the end of this video, because by just documenting it down, it'll just be a lot more clearer. So keep watching and I'll explain the first lesson that I learned. So what was my first lesson? I released the content on the 14th of July, and my initial response was to promote all the videos. But as soon as I did, I could feel my energy becoming weighted. I was feeling really low energetically, and I was beginning to notice the thoughts of doubt coming through. I couldn't for the life of me understand why I was feeling this way. And I thought, I had just worked 9 months on Decoding Humanity to bring it to life. And everything I know to be true is true, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't. So what had changed? And on top of that, I was receiving angel numbers telling me I was out of alignment, and I couldn't figure it out. So on Friday the 15th, I decided to sleep on it. And the next day, I spoke to a very smart person who said, whenever you feel like this, you should only do what you thought you should do when you were feeling great. All other thoughts can't be trusted. And just like that, I had an instant light bulb moment. Instead of focusing on why I was thinking this way, I needed to focus on how I felt before this thought arose. And instantly, I realised my first mistake. By thinking I needed to rely on the algorithms of social media to be seen, I almost denied the power of God and consciousness. Because social media is a man-made product that has its own set of intentions based on the concept of money. And by believing its algorithms had power over my visibility, meant I wasn't believing in the power of God and what consciousness can do. And by releasing that idea, I was reminded that God was already going to give me something that would allow me to be seen, something that would bring your attention to me. And the large amount of money I said I'm going to receive, by example in the functionality of consciousness, was going to do that. Imagine, all I would need to do is create one video stating how I manifested this amount of money, and people would be coming to me wanting to know how. And by God guiding me to create Decoding Humanity before being an example of consciousness, I was already being set up to be in the perfect position to do what I needed to do effortlessly, without needing to worry about how, just to stay aligned to my highest path and to act on my intuition when I felt inspired to do so. Do you see how magical all of this is? How following God and consciousness has set me up to be in the best position possible, to be seen, heard and trusted. And all I had to do was follow my truth, be fearless enough to speak it, and trust in God and consciousness. So when we step into full spectrum consciousness and are actively fulfilling our purpose, all we need to do is create. Create when we feel inspired and constantly remind ourselves to the truth of God and consciousness. And remember, there is no business or system too high for consciousness to rule over, because it is the algorithm of life. And what man creates, no matter how large, can still be overruled, because we exist within the realm of consciousness. And when we create alongside it, mountains can always be moved. So now we continue to wait, and unless I receive any more insight or overcome any new lessons, this will be the last video before I prove the functionality of consciousness. So stay tuned. This is Reaching Full Spectrum Consciousness with Vanessa Nash.